Welcome to Rise and Realign Conversations for the Sensitive Soul. I'm Melissa, and this space is for those of us who feel deeply, love fiercely, and sense the world in ways that are hard to explain but impossible to ignore. Here, we honor your sensitivity as a strength, not something to fix. So, in today's episode, I'm referencing again the highly sensitive series blog articles that I had written. And there's 9 parts, 3 that cover the mind, 3 that address the body, and then the last 3 address the spirit. And so today is part 6, so it's the third in that body series. It's called Building Physical Resilience as a Sensitive Woman. And again, you're always invited to read the blog in its entirety. You can find it on my website, realignwithmelissa.com/blog. And you can even search the categories for highly sensitive series. So it brings up all 9 parts for you right there. But really, talking about building physical resilience as a sensitive woman, it's really important to understand that traditional approaches to building physical resilience often involve pushing limits, right? Powering through, and there's lots of, again, coaches, trainers, we'll just say individuals who don't have the understanding and awareness of, that roughly 20 to 30% of the population have this high sensitivity trait, and that it's understanding that this sensitivity is a survival strategy, right? And it's innate, it's normal, and it's invisible. But it also explains why this pushing through, approach often backfires for highly sensitive people. So again, it's so important to understand what makes you unique and different as a sensitive woman, and why your path to resilience uh, calls for an honoring of your natural way, that depth of processing for your experiences. And really think of resilience as a river, right? It's not a wall that we're trying to climb, right? A river has tremendous strength, right? It flows around obstacles instead of crashing through them, right? And it knows when to rush and when to pool. So it knows when to deepen, right? It knows when to spread wide. And this is the kind of resilience that best suits, your sensitive system. Um, and, again, you're always invited to read the blog, and you can see the research that's cited there. And in this particular one, I actually, talk about the brain imaging studies by Dr. Bianca Acevedo that demonstrate highly sensitive people show increased activations in areas responsible for deep processing and awareness, right? So, again, just pointing to how sensitivity itself is a form of strength, right? Like you've heard me call it a sensory intelligence, right? And so, again, I'm here continually speaking about this sensory processing sensitivity trait because it is normal yet invisible, right? You do have a more finely tuned nervous system. Your neuroanatomy is just a little bit different. And again, we're still all unique, even though 20 to 30% of us have this trait. Really understanding it helps you understand your own journey, your own challenges, and how to listen and trust yourself more easily, more readily, more deeply, right? Because again, this depth of processing, it's a depth of caring, it's a depth of, what you feel what you think about, right? So again, your your natural rhythm is just different than the roughly 70 to 80% of the population who do not have this innate survival strategy, right? So it's important to understand that when we're in healthy environments, when we're supported, when we're listened to, right? Then as a sensitive individual, you have the ability to really excel. You have great capacity, right? High functioning, maybe you have big dreams, big aspirations, right? Just a lot of generosity of heart, I certainly see in all of the women that I have the privilege of supporting. Um, but you need to understand that the emotional intensities that you feel, the emotional processing, the mental processing, all of that is using, energy from the body. Um, and that's not always talked about. And again, that's why I just return here each week to continue to raise awareness so that you can tune into your unique needs and honor yourself because you matter, your needs matter. And again, I'm so grateful that Elaine Aaron and others like Dr. Bianca Acevedo have been researching this high sensitivity trait. And if you're not already aware, there are documentaries as well. And of course, Dr. Elaine Aaron has written several books for the highly sensitive person. Um, so today, though, I really wanted to touch on something that has been coming up for me. And, I don't know if I've talked about my professional roles much on this podcast, but I have been a licensed independent clinical social worker since the, um, I guess, mid to late 90s. And my career began, providing individual therapy and play therapy um, for individuals who have experienced trauma, history with substance abuse, and with adolescents as well. And after providing family therapy, couples therapy, and individual, I always come back to when I work one on one with someone, there's again so much depth that gets revealed through highly sensitive individuals that I work with. And so my career over the past 30 years has really evolved to see the importance of supporting highly sensitive women specifically. I would say the last couple years that just became really clear to me. And you've heard me talk that this trait is equal between males and females. And I absolutely have highly sensitive males in my life. And I really appreciate um, those experiences and what they bring into my life as well. But again, as a woman who didn't always know about this trait, the research came out in the, I think it was the early 90s. And so, I navigated my 20s and my 30s without any knowledge of this trait. And learned about it once I was in my 40s. So, what I really, really love and feel so privileged is that the women that have come to work with me, and again, I have a very holistic approach. So, one psychotherapist is we're not all the same, obviously. Even within that title, we have our own training or our own, ways of offering that type of service. And I've certainly referred to myself as a holistic psychotherapist so that it's really clear that I'm going to, look at somebody's wholeness, right? How their mind is operating, how their body is being cared for, and what's the communication from the body, right? And also that spirit, that fire within them, that, that which lights them up, that which moves them forward towards um, what they feel most interested, and called to do. Um, and I've also had the wonderful opportunity of hosting different types of groups throughout my whole career. I mean, at 19, I was hosting groups in locked psychiatric hospitals, supporting individuals who, were really navigating some very difficult challenges. So I just wanted to talk today about the power of highly sensitive individuals coming together with other highly sensitive individuals, whether that's through your own personal network, right? You have friends or colleagues who get you, and who you can talk about, these deeper nuances of your experience. And if you don't have that, I just want you to know that I am someone who's here with a very specific focus to support other highly sensitive women. Um, and I've actually been receiving some ideas that I immediately felt clear about and have initiated. So I wanted to really, if you are in your early to mid 20s, or just anywhere in your 20s, and you're listening to this, I really want to speak directly to you for a moment because, I've reflected on my own journey in my 20s and not knowing about being a highly sensitive individual and just how I felt. And I didn't meet another sensitive friend until I was 25, and she has become my lifetime best friend. Um, but I know that in our 20s, right? This is this is where many sensitive women, are trying to prove that they can keep up, right? Like whether you have graduated from a bachelor's degree or you're, in or graduating from, right, a master's program, whether you're building a career, navigating relationships, questioning your body, just finding what suits you, right? Your direction, like where you feel most alive and authentically you. I know that can be challenging when we don't understand, you know, say the emotional ups and downs, or why people may say, oh, just go to the gym and work out if you don't feel good, that'll get your juices flowing. And it's just like, you know, that can work for some of us and it can work for some time, but it's not the go-to fix as a highly sensitive individual. It really is about getting to know your sensitivity and your strength and honoring your rhythm. And I have to say too, for the beautiful, highly sensitive women I've had the opportunity to support in your 20s, I just, your curiosities, um, your openness, your ability to question, right? Like how you were raised and how that aligns with who you are and what you want, right? And the that depth again of caring. So, how much you appreciate, what you did receive from your parents and your awareness of what you didn't receive that you really needed, right? And so, um, I just, want to remind you, I mean, whatever age you are, there's nothing wrong with you. um, having a more finely tuned nervous system, it's about understanding that you have a different rhythm, and it's important to be true to you, right? Because trust me, I've been there. When I just pushed through and added more onto my plate, um, it just made it so much more difficult, So again, I'm really wanting to support women in their 20s, sensitive and strong women in their 20s, so that you have a safe space, a space that you can come to once a month for some support, for some safety, for some slowing down, connecting with yourself, with your heart, with, what's being called from within you, a space that, you get some, I'll say, distance from the chaos of the external world and expectations, so that you have a place to come and connect with other highly sensitive women in their 20s, and with a highly sensitive guide, myself, who has walked the path of being, a highly sensitive woman in her 20s, and navigated relationships and career and, you know, um, colleges and professors' expectations, and just not feeling understood or heard, right? It's so important that as highly sensitive women, we come together to share the space, right? Share the depth that you have with other sensitive women who will appreciate it so deeply, again, because of that depth, right? And to just create a space that you can feel yourself, you can express your emotions without apologies, where you can feel what you need to feel and know that you're in a safe space. So it's really been an honor to see how many women in their 20s have already been resonating with this podcast. And the universe has brought me synchronistic experiences that helps me to know that this is the time to offer it. Um, and so I want you to know I'm introducing, well, I just introduced it over the weekend. It's called Sensitive and Strong, the Realign Circle for Women in Their 20s. So it's small, it's an intimate monthly gathering. It's the first Tuesday of the month. So the first one begins Tuesday, March 3rd, and that's 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And I currently have one beautiful, sensitive woman um, who has signed up. And again, you're invited. There is a um, 30-day window that you can experience and see how it resonates for you. There is a community space as well, which is off social media. And that's open for how you want to use that to get to know each other, the other 20-year-old sensitive women in there. Um, it's really something that uh, it's a space to understand your nervous system. It's a space to build resilience, a space to practice breath, boundaries, rhythm. It's a space to be strong without hardening, without pushing through, without trying to live up to what you might see others doing. It's really a way for you to return to you. And I want to be clear, this is not therapy, right? It's not a performance space, right? It's a rhythm restoring circle. And especially, if you've ever felt like you're too much or not enough at the same time, like this is for you. And um I know it's coming up quickly, but if it resonates for you, trust that. And again, you can join and get a feel for it. You can ask questions. This really is a living space. I bring a lot of love and compassion because, again, I've walked the path and I have supported countless individuals in my 30 years, and this is something I'm really passionate about and really appreciate. Again, the strength and the resiliency and the capacity within sensitive women. And when they come together, it's just beautiful. It's so loving and supportive, and it's just an extension, right? We're each bringing that depth of caring, that love and light that is within us all. We get to bring it together to support and just know that I'm there as a mentor, not as a therapist, diagnosing or, trying to treat symptoms. No, this is a space for you to keep returning to you and to receive the education around what it means to be a highly sensitive person. And, my integrative mental health and my quantum biology health approach is just part of who I am at this point in time. I feel it's it's very much like the ancestral wisdom that I've been living and navigating. And I've just been so blessed to connect with mentors who have specialized in the integrative mental health and the quantum biology health arenas. And so, because believe me, I know as highly sensitive women, right? Like there's curiosity, there's definitely this high awareness, high intelligence, right? So I know there's a lot of topics that can come up in a circle, right? With other 20-year-old sensitive and strong women. So, yeah, I'm just excited to um, invite you to join, invite you to bring your unique gifts and talents and curiosities. And again, the inner world of sensitive individuals is so complex and nuanced. And, um, you know, there's infinite possibilities of where our conversations could go, how I can support um, you in being present with what's coming up for you, and also empowering you to see what else is possible, to believe in yourself, to believe in your dreams, to believe in that spark within you, right? We want to nurture that. We want to be nurturing to ourselves and to each other. So, again, you're invited to visit my website, realignwithmelissa.com, and you can click on the offerings page, and that's where you'll see Sensitive and Strong, the Realign Circle for women in their 20s. And again, one of you has said yes, and it will just continue to grow at the perfect right timing and pace as more and more hear this invitation and know that this space is created for you. I have to say, I am so honored to not only have a daughter in her 20s who I learned so much from. Um, Mother and daughter relationships can bring their own complexities, and we can certainly talk about that in this circle as well. Um, and I have a daughter-in-law in her 20s, and again, it's just knowing that I didn't understand this high sensitivity trait when I was in my 20s and how helpful that would have been. And to now be, right, like 20 to 30 years later, and the environments that you as 20-year-olds are now navigating has even more things. We're talking Wi-Fi, right? Electromagnetic fields. Like, remember, as highly sensitive individuals, we're not only taking in the external, right? You're not just taking in more visual stimuli, more auditory stimuli, right? Like, you're also taking in the invisible, right? The frequencies that are coming. And that's when we talk about, um, you know, some call it being an empath, right? But again, um, there's different languages that mean different things. So I'll just stay with your generation is exposed to even more than mine was. And that's why it is so essential that if you are a highly sensitive woman, that you understand how to care for your nervous system and how to understand why some things may feel more difficult or challenging for you than others. You are in a minority, but again, it's not to say there's something wrong, right? This is not an identity or a label that needs to say doom, right? That doesn't feel good to me. To me, this is a sensory intelligence that I'm tuning into, that I'm learning to understand the communication so that I best take care of me. Because it's so important that we understand the relationship that we have with ourself is the number one relationship to focus on. So that relationship with your inner dynamics, right? How your mind is operating, how your body is communicating, right? What your spirit is calling you forward towards. This is all the inner communication that we're not necessarily raised to tune into. It's often, let's look outward. Let's do all these things, XYZ, right? I mean, I certainly felt like I had achieved the American dream, but I didn't have the relationship that I have with myself. I was so much looking outward and, reaching the milestones that I needed to reach. And it was just constant bracing, right, of what's next, and just trying so hard, right, to do everything correct, because that sensory processing allows you to think about what you just experienced and how you can use that information to make another, um, not necessarily another decision, but to make a decision in the future that sets you up for even more success, right? So again, this depth of processing can get we can get burned out if we don't understand it and reel it back in. So again, this is my invitation to you if you're in your 20s, and if you are someone who knows another highly sensitive woman in her 20s and you think she would benefit, please do share this episode with her. Or if you go to my website and you have the link to sign up, again, there is a 30-day period for you just to get a feel, to see, does it resonate for you? If it's the right timing or the right place. So, as a reminder, we are here together to rise, reclaim, remember. Where the heart leads, the body remembers, and the soul awakens. Before we close, I invite you to return to your breath. Nice, slow inhale through your nose. Nice, slow exhale out your mouth. And just piercing your lips like you're blowing out a candle. Nice and slow. That signals to your nervous system you're safe, you can relax. And again, continue at your own pace and rhythm. Just remember, as you're inhaling through your nose, you are hydrating your body. So essential for there to be flow. And exhaling out your mouth, releasing, relaxing, letting go. So continue to return to your breath, your body, to what feels true for you right now. There's nothing you need to fix. Just notice what's here for you. So take good care of you. Much love and light.